After a loss, have you ever felt like your heart was breaking into pieces and no matter what you do, the pain just won't go away? That's grief. Grief is something that we all experience in our lifetime, but so many are still unsure what exactly is grief. So today I'm going to talk about what loss and grief actually are. My name's Linda Falasco, and I am a licensed clinical social worker and a grief and trauma therapist. And I will be doing a series of Grief 101 videos to help others understand what grief is, that'll be today, and why grief hurts so much, what are the feelings that are associated with grief, and a few other videos to help people understand just some basic concepts and what to expect in the grief journey. So be sure to subscribe for more videos like this. So let's get started with today's video and talk about what is grief. We're going to start with loss. The term loss refers to the disappearance of something that we cherish. It can be a person, a piece of property, or even a way of life. Unfortunately, loss is frequent and unavoidable part of our human experience. We all are going to go through loss, many different types of losses. And when we have loss, grief usually follows it. So, what is grief? In order to understand what grief really is and what it entails, it may be helpful to kind of understand the origins of the word itself. So bear with me here. More than 800 years ago, the Middle English word grief, which eventually it's going to evolve into the term we use today, grief. And that was first recorded over 800 years ago. It was used to describe hardship, pain, suffering, and bodily affliction. Now, grief originates from the Old French adjective, grief, spelled the same as the modern English word. Now, that meant wrong, grievance, injustice, misfortune, and calamity. Now, that word comes from the Old French verb, grever, meaning to afflict, burden, and oppress. Now, going even further back, the Old French word grever finds its origins in the Latin verb gravar, meaning to make heavy and cause grief. Gravar comes from the Latin adjective gravis, which means weighty. It also is where we got the modern English words for gravity and grave. So now that we got that out of the way and we understand where the word comes from, I think it was important to share that because all those words really describe what grief is. And that's the deep emotional response that we feel when we lose something or someone that's important to us. It's a complex mix of emotions such as sadness, sorrow, anger, guilt, confusion, anxiety. You might even have moments of relief or numbness, shock. It's all valid. Grief can come from many types of loss. The end of a relationship, losing a house, losing a job, end of a friendship, even loss of a dream, and the death of a loved one, which is by far the most intense loss that many people will experience in their life. After the death of a loved one, it's normal to feel profound grief. Loss is not limited to one kind of experience, and grief looks different for everyone. While grief is a normal and natural process of life, it's also uniquely personal, and the process will vary from person to person. Grief doesn't follow a straight path or a timeline. Some days you might feel okay. Other days it can feel like the wave just came crashing back down again and like you're back to square one. And that's all perfectly normal. I'm sure you've heard the saying, grief is the price that we pay for love. When we love someone or something and we have a connection to them, when we lose that, it's very natural human response to feel grief after the loss. And a lot of people still want to act like feeling deep sadness or despair and feeling these mixed emotions with grief is not okay, and try to tell us that we need to kind of keep it in a box, or you have a few days of grief leave, and when you get back to work or after your 5-7 days off, you should be back to normal. That's not accurate. It's important to understand that all these feelings that can be very overwhelming are normal, natural responses to loss. And it's part of your grief process. Thinking about my own grief journey and thinking about the root words that I talked about earlier and what those words meant, I can remember actually feeling a lot of those feelings and the words that they used to describe, like graver, all that. For one, feeling the death of my loved ones were unjust. Definitely felt that. It felt like they were unjust. Felt like both they, my loved ones, and myself were wronged in some way. I also felt like I was lugging around an incredibly heavy weight that I just couldn't get rid of, no matter what. And no matter how hard I tried, it just was there, and it was so heavy, especially in my chest. I also can remember my mind and body were suffering from some unspeakable pain. They are some of the words that I used earlier. I'm curious, what words would you use to describe your grief? Put it in the comments below. I want to hear how you would describe your grief. Remember, grief isn't something that you get over. It's actually something that you will grow with, and you learn how to move forward in your grief. But grief is more than just pain. It's a journey. And understanding and gaining knowledge on what grief is and what to expect, that's the first step toward healing. I hope this video was helpful. Be sure to let me know how you describe your grief, what words you would use. Hope this video was helpful. Be sure to like and subscribe. Until next time, continue mending piece by piece, one step at a time.